What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda. A day that feels like a day we're not going to forget anytime soon. The news, of course, broke earlier on today that Liverpool's manager Jurgen Klopp will be stepping down from his role along with his backroom team of Pep Linders, Kravitz and a few others at the end of the season. And of course, immediately as Liverpool fans, our questions are, who's going to replace him? Who are the candidates? How are we all feeling? And how on earth do we get to this point? There is a lot to get through over the next, well, as long as it takes pretty much, where we're going to be asking you for your views. We're going to be running through the candidates, looking at what the media say, and of course looking at what we can expect. A bit of a programming note as well. I have just recorded the preview for the Norwich game. That's going to be coming out tomorrow, so keep an eye on that. I think it's going to be dropping at about lunchtime, so in and around 1 o'clock midday, something like that. So look, yeah, we've all had somewhat of a chance to digest the news and the information. It doesn't make it any better, doesn't make it any easier. It doesn't really change anything. I'm still numb. And I don't know if I'm alone in that. I suggest I probably am. But yeah, right now, this isn't a day that I was expecting or a day that I was certainly looking forward to. But we've a lot to go through. So what I thought we would do for the opening few minutes of today's stream is I'm going to run through and give you guys my list of my top 4 Jurgen Klopp replacements in order of preference for me. Again, I'd love you guys to let me know your thoughts in the comment section. If you agree, if you disagree, if you have other names you'd like to throw in, please feel free to let me know. I'm going to go through them now and work through it over the next few minutes while we wait for the chat to fill up. So let's get stuck into it. Starting off with my number 1 on the list, and that is, of course, Xabi Alonso. It feels like the most natural fit for Liverpool Football Club, and it feels like it's the obvious one, right? You know, we've looked at the media today. We've looked at the headlines and the suggestions from Carragher. We'll talk about Melissa Reddy and her thinking as well. And you're probably also wondering about deserves in the title of tonight's stream. Well, the reason deserves is there is because it was an article written by Henry Winter that said that Xabi Alonso deserves to be Jurgen Klopp's replacement. Of course, Steven Gerrard's name was always going to be mentioned with the job when Jurgen Klopp moved on, but him being over in Saudi with Al Ettifaq and his managerial career somewhat stalling, his name isn't really going to be in the reckoning. So Xabi Alonso for me is top of the pile for a few reasons. When I look for a Liverpool manager, I have a checklist of things that I want to achieve. One of them is the manager has to be good enough, and that is the part of this that I'm in no doubt about, but I do understand people who worry about his perceived lack of experience at the very top level in the European setting as a manager. He's only been at Bayer Leverkusen a short period. Before that, he was, of course, at Real Sociedad as their B-team coach. But we know he's achieved everything in the game. He's won the World Cup as a player. He's won the Champions League multiple times. And he is, without a doubt, a big enough personality, a big enough name to attract both players and I guess coaches to Liverpool Football Club. You of course have to be respectful knowing that he's under contract by Leverkusen. That contract runs like Jurgen Klopp's was supposed to until 2026. But for me, he's head and shoulders above anybody else. Somebody in our chat earlier on mentioned this as a kind of a fun side thing, but imagine a Xabi Alonso, James Milner dream ticket kind of scenario, which would be absolutely great. You could get the whole band back together. You could even get a few other former Liverpool players back over. I mean, certainly know that Lucas Leiva is not doing anything at the moment, so maybe he could come back over and help out as well. But for me, that's the name, and everybody that I'm going to mention after this will be a distant second. Xabi Alonso is that guy for me. I hope Liverpool do get it sorted. There's been some murmurings coming from BBC as well about this how would I say it, verbal agreement that if Liverpool, Bayern or Real Madrid did come in for Alonso, that they had that agreement with Leverkusen, him and Leverkusen, I mean, that he could leave if one of those clubs came in. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what develops over the next few weeks and months. Second on my list is probably the one that you're expecting me to say next, which is Roberto De Zerbi. Lots of stuff to say that Liverpool have been tracking his progress as well, you know, during his time at Italy, of course, now with Brighton in the Premier League. And it's a style of football that I think we'd enjoy. And that's important for me because we can't go from heavy metal, 100-mile-an-hour Jurgen Klopp football back to some boring, mundane defensive setup, which is not what we get with De Zerbi. You, of course, have to be respectful to Brighton as well. He is their manager. He is under contract. Interesting when he was asked today whether he would take the job or link himself to the job after Klopp. He just gave the stock answer, isn't it? I have a job. My focus is on Brighton. We'll talk. Well, he didn't say we'll talk in the summer, but right now he said his focus on Brighton, seeing out the season, yada yada. But I'm sure the likes of James Milner, Adam Lallana at Brighton will be having a word in his ear saying, dude, if the job comes up and you're offered it, take it. There is one part before I move on to the last two people on my list that I just want to get out there, and that is the news that Jurgen Klopp told FSG in November. It's been reported. Some people have said the summer, some others said November. Let's go with the November one. But I'm not naive enough to think that even though Jurgen only made his announcement today and told the players today, they have to have been going through the checklist already. If they've known since November, they'd be foolish not to have started to have those conversations about what the next Liverpool manager could look like, what the backroom team could look like, and many other bits and pieces. So for me, number 1, Xabi Alonso. Number 2, Roberto De Zerbi. Number 3 on the list is somebody, again, the drop-off here as we go down the list for me is steep. So Nagelsmann, I guess, has to be mentioned in the conversation. His career has had a bit of a weird trajectory, right? So he had a great start at Hoffenheim, came to Anfield as a 30-year-old in a Champions League qualifier, talked about the Anfield atmosphere, how it wasn't going to get to him or his players. He was 3-0 down very quickly. The game ended up, if my memory's right, 4-2 to Liverpool. But since then, he has gone on to bigger jobs, had mixed success at Leipzig, obviously Bayern Munich and the German national team. But I think his name will probably be linked because he's a young, forward-thinking coach, a disciple, or at least a huge fan, I should say, of Pep Guardiola with the way he sets up his teams. He's made no bones about the fact that he's a big fan of Pep, so you can see that in his style of play. But I'm not overly convinced with him, folks, in all honesty. And the last one on my list is the one that Aston Villa fans don't want us to be talking about, and that is, of course, Unai Emery. I don't think it's likely that Emery leaves Aston Villa because Aston Villa have given him the opportunity to come in. He's done really well. He's going to be back there by their owners. And of course, Aston Villa fans don't want to hear us talking about their manager. And I understand that. But it would be remiss of me not to speak about him for a few reasons. One, obviously, he has had a couple of spells in the Premier League now of varying success. But right now, his stock as a manager, his tactical acumen, it's very top notch. It's right at the forefront of the coaching game in the world. So he's the fourth one on my list. But as I said, as you go down through those, they drop down. And after that, you'll see other names mentioned. Ange Postecoglou's name's been doing the rounds, although he's just a few months into his deal at Spurs, so I don't see that changing. A few crazy names being thrown around as well. Thomas Frank's name has been mentioned, but I think the bookies have him at something like 33-1 as a possible Liverpool manager. And as much as I do like him, does he have the gravitas or the pulling power to get Liverpool chugging along as we'd like to and winning trophies? I don't know, is the honest answer. If you were just looking for a coach, very, very good lad. But does he have that pulling power? I don't know. Brendan Rodgers' name has been doing the rounds again, by the way, which I think is all kinds of crazy. And of course, Rafael Benitez was probably the last strange one that I've seen. So I want to know, who's your favourite? Who would you like to see come in? Nobody wants to talk about Klopp leaving. It's a horrible subject they sit here and have to talk about. But we are where we are. So no Gareth Southgate talk either, by the way. We're not having that in the comment section. But it is over to you now to let us know what you're thinking. I have a couple of super chats that I need to go back through as well. So bear with me there. Where are we? This is why I hate when I don't pay attention to all the chat early doors, because if I'm doing a little monologue and chats go up, I have to chase back through them. So one last dance, get us Mbappe, said old man Dagu, or Digu I should say. Harry, where was Harry's super chat? Where was your super chat, Harry? There he is. I'm sad but I'm happy he's earned a rest. So I guess the one question I want to ask you all is, why do you think it was today with the announcement? Or this week, or around this time? It doesn't really matter, but today is today, so why today? The more I've thought about it throughout the day, I can only assume that something was going to be leaked. Because you've seen earlier on Billy Hogan say that the video for Klopp was recorded last night. So I wonder, was something potentially going to be leaked? Or were they worried about something being leaked, so they pushed it forward a little bit? But also, Billy Hogan did look like a man who was pretty relaxed up there for somebody who would have a pretty daunting task ahead of them. I get the feeling that maybe there's more to more to the Alonso stuff that meets the eye, and we'll go through that as well, of course, over the next hour and a half or so. Right, the news is coming in thick and fast here, and I want to fly through a couple of quotes. But before I do, let me just say thank you to Matty Gorman, who's just joined to become a member of Anfield Agenda FC. In the final narrative, if he lifts the cup, that's why it's now, said Positivity Zone. Can you imagine that changing of the guard moment, mate, if that is the case? And I think we touched on it a little bit earlier on. Alonso, Klopp, or Champions League, that'd be a fine thing. Europa League final in Dublin. Yeah, it'll be an interesting narrative, all right. What do you think of Ruben Amorim? I was looking at him earlier on, Pranav, when I was going through my list and looking through all the candidates that have been mentioned. You know, his name was on that list, but I honestly can't say I know enough about him to know if he'd be good enough or not. That's me being honest with you, dude. I don't know. There's so many young up-and-coming managers that it's hard to keep track of them all, and I don't even know the dude's style of football. So I'm gonna have to ask you guys in the chat to let me know what you think. There is he worth a show? Jordan, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC as well, my friend. Appreciate you. Right, so what's this one? Jamie Carragher has been speaking as well, and you'll see a lot of former players come out and back in the idea of Xabi Alonso, and they're absolutely spot on. But this is what Jamie Carragher has had to say, speaking on Sky Sports News. I think right now, if you look around the Premier League in Europe, you think, who fits Liverpool? There's no doubt you cannot get away from Xabi Alonso, a former teammate of mine, because he's so respected at Liverpool for what he did as a player. He's a Champions League winner. He's always held himself with real class. He's a World Cup winner, and that's just on the playing side. You think of the manager he's worked with under Rafael Benitez at Liverpool, Jose Mourinho and Carlo Ancelotti as well. So you can see Carragher's very fond of the idea of Xabi Alonso coming in. He goes on to say, the other one I would look at is De Zerbi at Brighton, who's done a fantastic job. The thing that stands out about them as well, which always stood out about Jurgen Klopp, is that Jurgen was always able to be successful without being at the highest spending teams, which again is a fair point. I just get the feeling, I don't know, lads, I just get the feeling De Zerbi is either going to go to Barcelona or Manchester City. And look, I'm going to say it. Fuck it, I'm going to say it. I feel like Alonso, I feel like it's so obvious that we can do this dance and pretend, and I feel like it's going to be Alonso. I do. It feels like just the very, very obvious, clear choice. And it's not just myself or Liverpool fans that think so. Melissa Reddy has been speaking as well. Melissa Reddy, of course, of Sky Sports, said, Xabi Alonso is the outstanding candidate to replace Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. I'd be shocked if it wasn't him. And then we move on to the title of tonight's stream, which, you know, you're probably wondering about the deserves bit. It comes from a Henry Winter article where he said that, in his opinion, Xabi Alonso deserves the opportunity to be Liverpool manager. Spoke about the style of football and the fact that he has them absolutely flying in the Bundesliga. And, of course, the fact that Steven Gerrard's stock, unfortunately for him, is probably at an all-time low right now in the managerial sense. So it's not going to be Stevie G. Let's be honest about that. So, again, a lot of love for De Zerbi and for Xabi Alonso. Right, love Xabi, lacks experience. Gerrard was up and coming. Rangers once upon a time. Go get Allegri, proven winner. May lack presence, but a title winner. And also, Nevlin, the most dull style of football possible. Allegri, again, I sometimes think, I could be deluded here, Nevlin, right? But I feel like to be Liverpool manager, it's more than just your qualities as a manager. You have to carry yourself in a certain way. And look, Allegri, I'm sure, is a lovely fella, but he doesn't strike me as a good fit for Liverpool. I think we need somebody with a better understanding of the English game and what it entails. Nobody can deny Allegri's credentials as a coach. Great spells at Juventus, but nah. I wouldn't be looking to Italy here. He says, ironically, haven't spoken about De Zerbi, but he has Premier League experience. And you're right, once Gerrard was up and coming at Rangers, but I would say what the job Alonso's doing with Leverkusen, it's a bit harder than the job Gerrard did with Rangers, you know, because he's taken on Bayern Munich here. He's unbeaten in the league. They're sailing through into the Europa League knockout stages as well. So yeah, I don't think Allegri would be a good fit personally. Alonso has no proven experience. And So, on the experience thing, we can't get away from it. It's a fair point that everybody raises, but ultimately, he has more than enough experience in the game in general at the highest level, and I mean the very highest level. As Carragher said, he's won it all as a player, and his managerial career is starting off very well indeed. And if we don't take him, I'm telling you now, it'll end up being Bayern Munich or Real Madrid down the line. So I think it's just so clear a fit. You have to just understand that yes, he might be lacking in those big club experiences, but he's not the type of fella to come in and be daunted by the job, or to not have the gravitas or personality type to carry it off. He is a class act through and through. He would be, I'm sure, energetic on the training ground as well. He would absolutely have the draw and the pulling power as a manager to bring in and attract top players if Liverpool needed them. And I just think it's so obvious that it has to be this to me. Bielsa. I'd be lying to you, Kevin, if I said for a little minute earlier on I didn't think of Bielsa, but no, Bielsa's not what we need now, because he can be a little bit temperamental, to say the least. Incredible coach, genius of a man. But no, I would say, he's got a good job there with the Uruguayan national team, and I'm sure they won't want to let him go. I'm sure he's probably settled over there. Luis Enrique, so no. No, not for me anyway. Luis Enrique, the fact that he chose to go to PSG for me was a weird one. I don't think that's going to work out well for him in the longer term. And also, he is in a job right now. So the reason I keep pushing on Alonso, and I'll come back to the BBC piece that's up there, you can check it out yourselves on the iPlayer if you get a chance, but we can't ignore the conversations that have been had around the fact there is this rumoured verbal agreement in Alonso's understanding, because I can't say in his contract, because the verbal agreement wouldn't be in the contract, with Leverkusen, that if Liverpool, Bayern or Real Madrid came in and he chose to want to take the opportunity, apparently there is an agreement there that he could go. Now, agreements that aren't in black and white legally don't really hold much weight, do they? So, well, at least I don't think they do. So let's wait and see what works out. Girona equals City, big no-no. Yeah, look, Michel, the manager at Girona, he's been mentioned in a few articles today by people who were obviously very fond and respectful of the job he's doing over there, but I think you can't look past the City connection for me. Right, some more super chats that I want to catch up on. And thank you, by the way, to everyone that's sending in super chats today or becoming members. It's very much appreciated by us, and it's a truly sad day all around. If I could ask you, though, to be so kind, do take a second, hit that like button for us, guys. It really does make the world of difference. And also, if you haven't subscribed, please do. Right, Susie, indie music fan, thank you for your super chat, said, I'm not too sure it's going to be Alonso. I have a feeling it's going to be a bigger name, i.e. Zidane. He just turned down the Algeria job offer. I would honestly feel comfortable to say I would bet everything in my bank account, which is not much, but it won't be Zidane. This Zidane idea is fanciful and just wrong. He's just not that guy. He doesn't speak English. No, not for me. He'd have the gravitas, and obviously he's won a lot with Real Madrid, but I just don't see it. It's just not Liverpool. Bumbadog said, Alonso has to be the one. His hunger and ability to develop younger players, i.e. Soboslai, by Cecic, Gravenberg, etc. Exciting style of play, 100%. Thank you, sir, for that. Shagon Madden said, what's your thoughts about Marco Silva of Fulham? I think the trajectory of his career so far has led him to be linked with the top job. Okay, this is how petty I am, but an awful bang of Everton still off him for me. And you are right, the job that he's done with Fulham is really good. And he's certainly come on since his Everton days, but I would say understandable that you've suggested him perhaps, but for me, I would say no. And look, I'm being stubborn. I get it, because I am very much in the mind of it being Alonso at this point because of, well, what I've read since we last spoke. the vibes I'm getting from former players and a few other bits and pieces, I just feel like it's going to be Alonso. Maybe I'm setting myself up for disappointment here. Pep Linders, I feel Klopp was talking him up, said Team Shark Meg. Well, he's departing at the end of the campaign. That's been announced already by the club. So is Kravitz, and so is the head of, I think it's development. Excuse me. So yeah, they're going. I couldn't find out about the goalkeeping coaches. I didn't see anything to say that the likes of Achterberg or Taffarel will be leaving, but again, I don't know, so we'll wait and see what the club say there. Linders probably will move on to a managerial job. At least that's what Billy Hogan was talking about earlier on. I just not for me. And he should be in consideration. And it is fair you've brought him up, and it is fair that we'll discuss him, but I can't help but feel like it'd be very underwhelming if it was Pep Linders. You know, I can't lie. I just feel it would be. I think he has to go cut his teeth somewhere else now as a manager and see how he gets on. But really, really good coach, no doubt about that. Alonso extended his contract in August with an exit clause for Liverpool. Do you think Klopp would leave? Do you think he knew Klopp would leave? Sorry. Don't know. No, I don't. I don't know what to believe at the minute, because I don't know who knew, why this has happened this week. Klopp made his mind up in November. Do I think... So I don't know if there's a clause in his contract. As I said earlier on, there's been lots of talk that there's a verbal clause that he could leave Leverkusen for Liverpool, Real or Bayern, but I guess we're going to find out over the next few weeks what the plan is, because whoever it is going to want time to get a plan in place before the summer transfer window, of course, as well, or to start at least thinking ahead to it. George Schmadtke is definitely going to be leaving the club. That's also been announced today. Now, I had a question, and I was talking to Connor about this earlier on. Am I imagining this, or was there some reports maybe a month ago that things had been going well with Schmadtke and Klopp, and I'm sure that there was a report that Schmadtke was going to extend. Now, the only reason I bring that up is if I'm right and that report does exist, or if a journalist or two did say it, and the only one I could really find on it was Christian Falk, then that kind of throws into question the November thing with Klopp. So if the club were briefing, or if whoever the source was briefing, that Schmadtke was going to stay on because of the good relationship with Klopp, that kind of flies in the face of Klopp told the club in November. So if maybe I've misremembered this, so that's why I'm asking, does anybody else remember it? Why would Klopp just come out of the blue and leave after 9 years? Something going on behind closed doors. I'm just glad he's still here now. Enjoy, said CC Bluebirds. I promised myself today I have to be respectful to Klopp. And for me, that respect extends to not going into ulterior motives or reasons as to why he wants to depart. I have to take Klopp at face value and at his word that it's these energy levels and that he can't give 100% of himself and his energy to the job anymore. I think he deserves that respect from me and everybody else. You know, I'm not saying we have to agree with it. I'm not saying that I haven't had similar thoughts about, you know, has something happened, but they seem to have got out of their way today, Klopp especially, to say that it was nothing to do with FSG. You know, you've seen him bring up the Jose Enrique thing in the press conference, and I felt like they're making it really clear there's no fallout with FSG. So I got to take the man at his word on that one. What do I think about Eddie Howe? I think that he has a job. And I think he'd be... Do you know what? On Eddie Howe, I think he might be a decent choice for the England manager after Southgate, but no, not for me at Liverpool. Imagine having to look at his assistant manager every week on the sideline at Anfield. No, that would be too much for me. I couldn't bear that. Don Pre, welcome to Anfield Agenda Ultras, my man. Appreciate you. Looking forward to seeing you in the Discord group. Right, so Melissa Reddy speaking about De Zerbi. She said, Liverpool have looked at De Zerbi in the past When he worked in Italy, they know tactically and technically he's an excellent manager. He has the ability to galvanise a dressing room. The Brighton players love playing for him. Again, this coming from Chris Bascom, and thank you to Connor and the guys for sending this on to me. Klopp convened his squad on the training pitch shortly before 10:30 this morning to deliver the news that he'd first given to Fenway Sports Group President Michael Gordon in November. As is often the case with Klopp, the speech was part instinctive, part pre-planned. He told the players that he was going to leave Liverpool in a position of strength. And he's always said that since he came to the club. And to be fair to the man, whatever else we think about this situation, however sad we feel, he's doing what he promised. He is leaving the club in a position of strength with a very good group of players and hopefully some trophies as well before this season's over. So Chris Bascom went on to say after training this morning, Klopp walked past the dressing room fearing sombre silence. Instead, he overheard jovial voices speaking about their determination to make this a season to remember. And that speaks to both Jurgen and, of course, the players in that dressing room and the quality of lads that we have in there. And they won't lose focus. Now, I guess my fear is, let's say this week comes up and we don't get the results we hope for against Chelsea and Arsenal. You can see very quickly how the narrative begins to change around this conversation then to, has this been a distraction, la la la. And I think we got to address this as adults. It is a distraction. Same way it would be a distraction if it was a Mohamed Salah contract saga or any other player contract saga. This is a distraction, and it's going to be. And as much as Klopp wants to say he did this today to have his say and then put it behind him for the end of the season, that's kind of not how the media work and how football works. And it's going to be there. It's going to be lingering. It's going to be the elephant in the room at every press conference. And I still can't understand why today. Or not even today. I'm fixating too much on that. I can't understand why now. Why not a month before the season's over? A week before the season's over? You know, the club can still do all their stuff in the background, their due diligence, their research, they look at the metrics, the data, you know, in stealth mode. Because the club have been very good over the years at keeping lots of stuff private. So I don't get it. I just don't get it. Yeah, I just don't. There's no part of me that understands why this happened today. Mourinho's the only one that can replace Klopp? No. To be fair, no. Mourinho, when we signed Rafael Benitez as manager, it was down to him and Benitez. Mourinho and Benitez. And ever since then, he's kind of been everything I've disliked about football. And that includes the clubs that he's gone and worked for. And he's just been fired by Roma. And I know that, you know, different managers, different fits, but a big part of me goes, he's just been sacked by Roma. Do we really want the man who was sacked by United, the man who was sacked a couple of times by Chelsea, the man who's been sacked by Roma? Nah. Football for me has moved past the idea of Mourinho at Liverpool. It would just be weird. So I would again say no for that on me. But I am very pig-headed on this. I'm very focused on one or two names, but you know, that's my own problem, not yours really. I've just had a source confirm that Pep Lijnders will not take the job at Liverpool. You've had a source confirm that? I mean, he won't take the job at Liverpool because he won't be offered it, and also he's leaving at the end of the season. So it's pretty obvious, mate, more than anything. Finley, thank you for gifting 5 Anfield Agenda memberships, bud. Really appreciate that. Conte, great manager, but I would say still not striking me as a Liverpool manager. Like, am I the only person that feels like there has to be, because I'm open to the idea that I'm deluded here, but am I the only person that thinks that a Liverpool manager has to be a certain type of character or person? And I don't see Conte as being in the Liverpool mould or the Liverpool way, but a very, very good coach, of course. Marcus Graff, welcome to Anfield Agenda Ultras, mate. I missed the super chat. I'm sorry, there's a lot happening today, and I'm trying to keep up with news and fly through comments. Don't lie, Craig. We all know you're getting the job, just keeping it secret. Pep will be shaking in his boots. Well, I guess I got to come clean, right? So, you all think I'm going to Boston in March for the live show. But, is it an accident that we kind of sorted that show and Klopp told FSG in November and I'm going to Boston to do a live show, whereas really, I'm going to be there with John W. Henry in FSG's offices, myself, him, Tom Werner, Billy Hogan, just all chewing the fat about who I should select as the next Liverpool manager. And I feel like that's the right way to do things, I can't let these clowns have a run at it. I need to make sure that it's done and done properly. So that's really why we're going to Boston. I just couldn't say anything about it until now. No, but I tell you what, it's certainly going to be probably the biggest point of conversation when we do the live show in Boston. What on earth is happening and what to expect. And I'm already starting to think, will we know by then? How long do you guys think it'll be before we figure out the definitive option, who the successor will be? How long do you think? Because I don't know what's the correct time to announce, because if it's a manager who's already in a job, well, you got to be respectful to the job he's in and the club he's in. But the pressure's going to keep mounting as well for an answer of who's going to replace Klopp from our side. So I wonder how long it'll take to either be leaked or an announcement. I also don't really believe, and this is the only part I'm probably going to say tonight, I don't believe all of what Billy Hogan said today. Like, there's a huge part of me that thinks, I get it, you are going to leave no stone unturned, you are going to cast your eye over a host of different managers, but I think if you've known since November, there's a list. I think there has to be a list at this point. Like, if you've known since November, you don't just rock up today and have not thought about it. I do feel like there was a list in place. I reckon it's already agreed with Alonso, said MCW. The next managerial appointment will define FSG without Klopp's magic. Yes, and it'll be interesting to see if the next manager, whomever that may be, is as understanding as Jurgen has been publicly anyway over the financial situation that FSG have bestowed upon us, is the best way I can say it. Because if there has been one criticism for me of Klopp, it's been sometimes I would have liked a bit more pushback against the owners, because he's a manager who would have known the whole fan base was behind him, he was pushing back a bit. But, he's always had that very publicly respectful relationship with John W. And I'm sure privately as well, but I'm not trying to make out like he's been two-faced here. But I do think, I'm not buying it that we haven't got a list of a couple of names at this point. Would love Milner as fitness coach. Oh, I'd love Milner to come back in any role at the club, in any coaching role or assistant role. I do love the idea of an Alonso Milner double act. That would be amazing. Like, with Milner obviously as the coach, and Xabi as the manager. But that's just me getting ahead of myself. I think Alonso's a good shout because his style of play is slightly similar as Klopp, and De Zerbi is like Pep. I'd happily have De Zerbi as well, I'll be honest with you. I just think for the whole package, the marketability, the gravitas, the connection to the football club, I think Alonso's the one for me. Nagelsmann, Chris said, Julian Nagelsmann. I'm sure he'll be in the mix, mate, yes. Like, I could see a world where Klopp ends up in the Germany job at some point, but will it be that soon? Because he did say a year break. But then again, he said that when he left Dortmund, and I guess our job was too appealing for him to turn down. But look, honestly, I'm not going to hold Klopp to the whole 1 year thing. It doesn't bother me. Because sometimes in life, situations pop up that are a good fit, and maybe after 3 or 4 months of a break, he gets bored, gets, I don't know, itchy feet and wants to get out doing something again. Ahmed Al Khalifa said, I hope we bring in somebody who plays expansive, enjoyable football, has to have a certain type of character that complements the fans and the club. I agree. And I think style of football now is important because whatever else has happened, Klopp has built this group, this second group of players now. And the club have invested a good chunk of money in Szoboszlai, in McAllister, in Darwin Núñez as well. And you're going to want the manager to come in to look at them and go, I can work with these guys. They're the style that I'd like. And that's why I think, again, Alonso is a good natural fit. Something that's been mentioned by me on a couple of occasions today that I just want to go back over is this is a rare opportunity for a manager. Not only to come in and manage a club the size of Liverpool, which in itself is a once-in-a-lifetime thing, but it's not often as a manager that you get to walk into another job from the person leaving before you who wasn't sacked or had a shit run of games and walked away. Whoever's coming in to take this gig is getting a really good job and a club in a good position and a fan base that will be excited to get behind them and continue on Klopp's dynasty, I guess, with this current group. So it's a real opportunity in that sense as well. Will any players leave with Klopp? Well, that was the next subject that I wanted to move on to. So we know there's three big players who are coming to, at the end of this season, having a year to run on their contract. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Virgil van Dijk, Mohamed Salah. So what happens with those three? That's the $64,000 question for me. I feel really comfortable about Trent. I feel pretty comfortable about Virg. It's the Mohamed Salah one I'm unsure of because I don't know where Mo's head will be at with this. Will he look at it and go, well, this might be the time for me to make a break from Liverpool and have a little spell elsewhere in Europe? Because I do think he's too good for the Saudi Pro League at this point. He's still got more to give at the top level. I hope that's at Liverpool, but maybe if Klopp's gone, maybe he feels that connection is gone, that manager that he built that trust with, that he knows so well and he knows has his back as well as, of course, Mo having Klopp's back. So I'm interested to know what happens here with that thought process. Are we going to start to hear stuff over the next week or two about Mohamed Salah's future? I don't know. Can you wish Lucas Carroll a happy 11th birthday? My wife and I are taking him to his first Liverpool match against Norwich. He doesn't know until now. Oh, that's awesome, Dan. Lucas, happy birthday, young man. 11 years of age. God, my own son turned 12 just a few days ago as well, my man. And well done, parents. Well done, Dan and mother, for bringing you to the Norwich game. I hope you have a wonderful time, my man. And yeah, what a game to go to for your first game. You get to see Jurgen Klopp. You get to visit Anfield. And I hope you enjoy it. And I hope we get the win for you. And happy birthday again, young man. I feel like Klopp will go to Barca. Is there a Klopp lever? So, look, we do know, if you look back, there's been lots of talk about Juan Laporta loving the idea of Jurgen Klopp. I think De Zerbi could be a Barcelona candidate if Xavi gets the boot. Marcus Graff, thank you, buddy, for your super sticker. Appreciate you. If we sold Van Dijk, how much would we get? Said Daniel. Don't know, man. That's a tough question because you've got the age thing, the contract thing. $60? Maybe? What do you guys think? It's a fair question. I don't think it'll happen. I don't think it's going to come to Virgil van Dijk leaving, but I guess what is he worth is a good question because I've never really thought about it. But with 1 year on his deal, I would say my guess would be 60. And Trent as well. Look, maybe I'm delusional here. Maybe I'm losing track of myself, but I can't imagine a world where Trent doesn't sign on for a new deal. You know, I'd like to think he's going to be a one club fella, but I guess football's mad. You never know. I didn't think I'd be getting up today and talking about Klopp leaving. Right, some numbers here that you guys have thrown in with regards to the valuation of Verge: 40, 35, 40, 50. Connor Nielsen 70. Um, VVD is 30 mil as you only get 2 years, said Kyle. If Maguire was 80, VVD is 170. Yeah, but it's the contract situation as well that you have to take into account. I think, look, I hope we don't find out. I don't want us to find out, but I think, yeah, somewhere between 40 and 60 is probably a number, but it's a number I never want to find out about. Just want to make sure, have I missed any more? Done that. Cool. Just making sure I'm keeping up with super chats and stuff. Did I see Leo? No, I haven't, but Connor was watching Leo's stream earlier on and he said he looked devastated now. I haven't seen it because I've been so busy today since the moment my eyes opened. So I think I would imagine Leo's feeling like the rest of us right now, just kind of shocked, confused, nervous, scared. You know, I think we're all going through all the emotions at the moment. I missed your super chat, Nevlin. Did I? Sorry, mate. Let me go back up through it. Marcus. Yes, Nevlin, my apologies, dude. Here it is now. Who would you like as director of football? Very important person now. Succession planning would have been done ages ago. I worry about Trent leaving. Director of football, I don't have a clue. I don't have an answer for you there, mate. Honestly, I'm sorry, I don't. Because I didn't think we'd be talking about managerial appointment today, let alone a director of football, because I thought Schmadtke would probably carry on a bit longer, as that relationship with Klopp has, you know, been quite successful in the signings he's made from the Bundesliga. The Trent one that worries you? I don't know, lad. Where does he go, Trent, if he leaves? Real Madrid? To go join up with Bellingham? Real Madrid need fullbacks, but I don't. I just get the feeling Trent's happy where he is. I do, and I don't. Maybe I'm delusional, but I just don't want to even consider Trent leaving. So I hope that the club work very quickly to start tying these guys down, because we can't have a world where we end up letting Trent get into the last year of his deal. That would be just crazy. Burning Bean said, I've genuinely been crying for the last 2 hours over Klopp interview and Klopp edits. Yeah, it's been a shit day, hasn't it? Like, there's no other way to word it. It's been a terrible, terrible day all around with the news, but I do really respect his honesty about it. You know, because it would take a lot to look internally and go, I can't give 100% of myself to this because I 100% isn't there for the next 2 years. So Billy Hogan, I thought, was very telling. He said once he spoke with Jurgen Klopp and Jurgen Klopp told him that, you know, he was going to leave in November, having gotten to know him over the years as he has, he knew he thought it through and he was comfortable with his decision. So yeah, I think fair play to Jurgen, because a lot of managers would stay in there until, you know, their contract's up or they're dragged out the door kicking and screaming. But self-awareness and honesty is something that I'm very proud to have as a trait in Jurgen Klopp and in our manager. So yeah, doesn't make it any less of a kick in the nuts though, does it? Honestly, is it wrong that I've mainly felt angry today, but not at anybody? I'm not blaming. I don't feel any blame here, but I do feel angry. I feel really angry. Because psychologically, I had 2 more years of Klopp in my head. And we go back to the contract extension that he signed. You know, his original deal would have been up this season. So, to have almost comforted myself with 2 more years of Klopp, it hurts. But again, I don't mean that to say I'm not angry at anybody. I'm just angry because I know this is the end of a very, very, very enjoyable time as a Liverpool fan in this chapter. Not to say we won't maybe, continue to do well. I'm sure we will. But when I said all the time there's nobody in the world I'd rather want, I meant it. There isn't anyone. There's nobody that comes close. There's no player that's more important. Klopp is that guy. And to think of a future without Jurgen Klopp as Liverpool manager feels very alien to us, because we've been fortunate to have that consistency over the last 9 years. Marcus Graff said, "Hey Craig, huge fan of Liverpool and huge fan of your show." Thank you so much, Marcus. How much do you think the sad news of Jurgen leaving does affect the whole Mbappe situation? Greetings from Austria. So, I actually had prepared stuff for today to talk about Mbappe before the Jurgen Klopp news came. And the kind of angle I was going to go with today was that I was watching an interview yesterday of a Spanish football journalist, and they were speaking about Mbappe and Real Madrid. And the thing that struck me from the interview was the sheer arrogance of the entitlement from the Madrid side. Like, that Mbappe will come, and this is the vibe that was given off. Mbappe will come to Madrid. He will overlook the shit money that they're giving him compared to what he's on, because he loves Real Madrid and he wants to play for Madrid. And that desire and the now or never side of it is more valuable to Mbappe than any of the money or anything else. And it just struck me as arrogant, the whole thing. I almost wanted to blow up in Madrid's face, just because it's like that kid, that we all knew that was spoiled and got everything and just never fucking appreciated it. I feel like that's kind of Madrid. So, does he end up there? Probably. But I hope it's not straightforward for them. I hope it's messy if he does. I hope it's drawn out. I hope there's some snidiness from the PSG side. And there's that arrogance, man. To talk about him taking a really, really big pay cut. And that the offer is less than the offer he was offered before, and it's significantly less than the money that he's currently on at PSG, and all this other stuff. It's just that feckin' entitlement I hate. Todor Balabanov, thank you, mate, for your super sticker. Are you worried about the summer window with Mo, sporting director and now manager in place? Yes, I am. Which is why I think we need to know the next manager before the end of the season. We just do, in my opinion, because the recruitment search will be underway. And Klopp did go out of his way today to say that there is a structure in place at the club now that should survive the managerial change, and that good people have been put in their roles. And I do understand and believe all of that, but I can't sit here and say that I don't think today's news has put a dent in a couple of possibilities for Liverpool. And the biggest fear I have is about the Salah situation. That is, outside of Klopp leaving, that's fear and problem number one now for Liverpool that I'm concerned about, because that could be a distraction on top of the Klopp distraction. And as soon as one result doesn't go our way, the narrative changes very quickly in the media, and everyone starts talking about the fact that, oh, that's it, because Klopp's gone now. The players aren't doing this, or it's a distraction that's caused this dropping of points or whatever. It's going to be the narrative for the rest of the season. Klopp rebuilt the midfield for a successor rather than leaving it with Fabinho, Henderson and Keita. Love that, yeah, Charlie, absolutely. Love that from Klopp, and love that thought process from you. Would I be happy with Mourinho? No, absolutely not. Craig, we are both in stage 3 anger, said Didinho. I am, but I have no right to be angry at anyone, and that's what's confusing me in all of this. I am angry, but I don't know who at. Robbie Fowler's put out a funny post to say, last home game of the season, if Liverpool don't rename the Klopp, I'm not going. Good man, Robbie, and hopefully they do. Neville said, Craig, my fear is Liverpool repeat United post-Ferguson. How do we avoid? Step one for me, manager has to come in and not change everything. Thoughts? So, what I'm about to say probably won't make sense on the face of it at the start, but I hope it makes sense when I'm finished. When Alex Ferguson finished managing Manchester United, I think he left a shit team behind. Now, the reason I say it sounds weird is he won the title, but he left an aging, depleted team that he'd probably rinsed everything out of, every last ounce of energy, strength, and whatever, and then left his successor with a pretty big job on his hands. Klopp's not done that. Whoever comes in is coming in and inheriting a really good squad that's been overhauled. Yes, we'll need to look at defence and a few other positions, but Klopp has not left us in that state. And I'm not trying to knock Sir Alex Ferguson, by the way. I'm not saying he intentionally did anything, but it is a very contrasting situation to how Klopp is going to leave Liverpool, or how Mourinho has left some clubs when he's gone in there, where, you know, he leaves them with a high wage bill, aging players, and moves on because he's had his little bit of success there and he's moving on to the next job. So, yeah, I guess I'm pretty scared right now. Benjamin said, morning Craig, now the dust has settled, I actually feel if the club is to maintain its traction, we need somebody similar to Ange. Liverpool are a special fan base, anyone without passion and personality will not survive. Exactly, and that's why the idea of and thank you, Benjamin, that's a very kind super chat, by the way, mate, thank you so much. Anybody like Zidane, as an example, he's just not going to cut it. We need that passion merchant, right? We need it. Now, Ange Postecoglou is not going to happen because he's only at Spurs a wet day. But I think what you've described there could be fulfilled by Alonso, who might not be, I guess, that emotional on the sideline, but he already has the connection and the respect and the admiration and love of Liverpool fans, so he doesn't need to force a connection through that overly enthusiastic sideline behaviour. Last game of the season, Gomez goal, Salah hat-trick, Darwin hat-trick, Szoboszlai screamer, Alisson header and league title. Oh yeah, little Joe Gomez goal before the end of the season would be great. Craig, Sir Alex Ferguson announced he's leaving mid-season, but then changed his mind at the end. Any chance Klopp could do the same? No, I don't think so. And I tried to convince myself of that very thing, mate. No, I Klopp doesn't strike me as the type of man to change his mind back again, because the club will already be looking for that successor and be doing some groundwork on it. And I think Klopp, I think he'll just concentrate on trying to get the best results he can for the remainder of the campaign. And it is great that when he has made the announcement, we are still in every competition. That's, I guess, one upside of this is he's announced it at a time where, you know, we're all excited to see what the season's going to bring us by the end of it. But at the same time, that I just did not expect him to not see out his contract. I was absolutely sure he'd see it out. And that's the part that I'm not going to say hurts the most, because I understand what Klopp has said and I respect the man and I respect his decision. But God, it does hurt. It does hurt, but, you know, I can't get away from that. It does hurt. Sad to think we won't play Champions League with Klopp again. Oh, again, Ross, that was another one of my initial thoughts, mate. Exactly as you've said. No more seeing Klopp walk out with Liverpool in the Champions League anthem. Yeah. That's another downside of this. Yeah, we don't even get another crack at old big ears with Klopp before he finishes up. So to have us in 3 Champions League finals, to win 1, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just really sad about it all. And numb. Klopp is and will be the foundation of Liverpool for many years to come, said RBX Squid. No more Klopp fist bump celebrations. Yeah. Yep. Does anybody in the chat think it won't be a distraction? Just seeing if there's other viewpoints on this. Does anybody think, because a couple of people in the chat earlier on said that they actually thought the timing of this was genius because it will, re-energize the team to fight for everything till the end of the season to make sure Klopp gets the best send-off possible. And I love that positive outlook and mindset. And usually and that's what I'm looking for. But today, man, I don't have the positivity in me at the moment. I just don't. Paul Joyce mentions Alonso, of course, said Jay Muse. I can't be the only one who thinks that it's Alonso. Like, I'm convinced it's Alonso at this point, lads. I can't lie to you. I've nothing to back that up. Like, I'm not sitting here on information or anything, but I am fully convinced it's Alonso at this point. More than a distraction, I think it will pump up the team even more. It'll be insane, said AJ. I'm hoping it'll be motivation, but it has to be distraction as well, said Calvin. Does anybody think that it will potentially change any of Van Dijk, Trent or Salah's thought processes for their situations as well? That's another thing I'd like your thoughts on. Brett Young said same, Craig. Downtown Vegas said, I think it'll energise the fans for every game until the end. Yeah, absolutely. Like, the home games, particularly between now and the end, every single one of them is going to be a cup final. And every single one of them, there will be people inside that stadium who, don't get to go every week, and that may be their only or their last time to see Klopp. And I'm sure that they'll give it everything in the stands as well to support the players and manager and give us the big send off. Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of just up and down today, really, really up and down. It's been tough one because I see my role and job a lot of the time in this community as to be the figurehead of it, to be the sounding board for you guys to have your say and to get your emotions out and to vent and to shout at me or shout at each other. And, today, I mean, but I can't deny the fact that it's been a struggle to front up to the camera and come on throughout the day, because honestly, I'm pretty heartbroken, to be honest with you. I don't think I've ever felt this sad about somebody leaving Liverpool, because Klopp's as near to a superhero to me as I guess could be. And look, I've shouted at him, I've told him to stop smiling, I've questioned his team selections, I've criticised him, but all from a place of love and all from knowing that there's nobody else I'd rather at the helm. So today I'm definitely really shook up. Edin Terzic from Dortmund, I want him or Alonso. Is he not, or was he not close to the chop from Dortmund at one point? Like, Dortmund are not having the greatest season they've ever had. So, and also, I don't think he would have the gravitas or the pulling power to attract players to Liverpool. So not to bring up Redmen TV, but I have to bring up Redmen TV because I want to credit somebody, and the person I want to credit happens to be one of the people for Redmen. So Steve Hoare, who you guys probably know, he said Thomas Frank is a name to keep an eye on, and I wanted to just get your thoughts on that. As I said, the only reason I bring it up is because I like to credit whoever says these things, and Steve's a nice guy actually. So I want to know your thoughts on that. For me, it would be really underwhelming. As much as I like Thomas Frank, as much as I think he speaks a lot of sense, I think it's a big jump to go managing Brentford then to come in and manage us. It just doesn't feel like a good fit. But, I brought it up, as I said, because it was mentioned as a name to keep an eye on. And You'll like this, Connor. Steve knows his onions, and yeah, if he said keep an eye on it, then I'm sure that his name is certainly at least being spoken about. Right, so let's see what you guys say. No, I hate his style of football, said Jordan. No chance, said Charlie. No, thank you, said Patrick. Craig, did you see Ten Hag's comments on Klopp leaving? Okay, this is again me being an asshole. So I did see his comments, but I was more one of the few times I've laughed today. I looked at Ten Hag and when he was saying what he was saying, I was just thinking ugly bald, ugly bald, ugly bald, ugly bald, and I'm not joking. That's all I could think. My head was just going ugly bald, ugly bald, ugly bald when he was talking. So I don't even remember what he said particularly. His football is defensive, said Lukey boy. Thomas Frank is a joke, mate. It's not my name. I didn't put it out there. As I said, I brought it up because it was mentioned by somebody whose opinion I would respect. Yeah, I respect Steve Hoare. I've had chats with him before, and he's always come across a nice guy to me. And he just mentioned the name Thomas Frank, so I thought I'd bring it up. For me, the words again, and again make me feel like he's fed up with FSG's constant lack of backing. But they went out of their way today to make us all know that it wasn't anything to do with FSG. Even John W. Henry's wife, Linda, was interacting a little bit with fans on social media, and a few people made those comments, and she said honestly they were as surprised by the decision and taken aback by it. And I honestly don't get the feeling that there is that fallout. I don't. I truly feel like we owe Klopp the respect to believe his reasoning. I think it's not about whether we like or dislike FSG here for me. It's about we've been told why by Jurgen, and if nothing else, we should respect what he says there and his reasoning. I think we owe him that. Have I seen all the rivals coming out of the woodworks? No. That's the beauty of me not being on social media, Arian, is I don't have to look at any of the stupidity that people... Look, to be honest, I've got some messages from opposition fans and they've been respectful. They've acknowledged the part Klopp has played in Liverpool's rebuilding, and of course what a loss it is to the Premier League. But the only opposition fans I've seen a little bit of today, because they've been sent some screenshots of them, was Villa fans getting worried that Liverpool might come after Unai Emery, which, I guess if I was in their position, I'd be a little bit worried about that as well. But I don't think they have anything to worry about. I think Unai Emery's happy where he is at the moment with Aston Villa. Will today open the door for Pep to leave City? Don't know. I'd rather he left City in disgrace after being relegated for the 115 charges, and that was the catalyst from leaving Manchester City, if I'm being honest with you, Sagan. You never know. Jurgen sees the strength of feeling he may stay. Look, nothing would make me happier, but I'm not going to hold my breath for it. He strikes me as the type of man who, when he makes a decision in this regard, to stick by it. But at least he acknowledged his mistake or his misreading of his own feelings or energy levels when he signed that new contract. Because that's the most disappointing part here for me in this is I thought this was a 2.5 year away headache. But yeah, today, God, I still can't believe it's happened. Just can't believe it's happened today. So I'm sure there's going to be people looking at this going, you're all overreacting here, but he's that important to us, right? As the man who delivered the league title, the man who put us back on our perch and did it playing beautiful football, bringing us all with him for the ride. Smiles, celebrations, booms, hugs, rants, clashes with broadcasters, officials, every minute of it's been fun, a journey, interesting, not really too many dull moments. Let's win some more trophies to see Klopp leave on a massive high, said David Coker. Been upset and gobsmacked all day, Craig. I'm not sure how the future looks. Will Trent still move into midfield and all the youngsters in the squad? Oh, God, yeah. Oh. I never even thought about that. Yeah, shit, I never thought about that. I don't know what'll happen there with Trent. It's a good question. I guess we'll have to see what the next manager comes in and thinks, but I would guess he'll end up towards midfield regardless. I just feel like that's where Trent's career path is going to take him at this moment. Our academy will take a hit, said Coach Bill. Will it? Look. I guess yes, Coach Bill to some extent. I mean, the knock-on and ripple effect of Klopp's departure will, I'm sure, reverberate through every part of the club, and I guess that will include the academy. But as Klopp made sure he made a point of saying today, him, the owners, and everybody around the football and part of the club have put the structure in place that hopefully it's not going to be as catastrophic as it feels right now. Roberto De Zerbi or Patrick Vieira, who is technically better? Is that a question or a statement? Was it Roberto De Zerbi or Patrick Vieira, and then who is technically better, or Roberto De Zerbi or Patrick Vieira, who's technically better? De Zerbi be a fine appointment, but again, just have a feeling he's going to be Barca or City bound. Just always had that gut feeling about De Zerbi. Do you think Stevie G is actually better than some folks say? He did build a lot of this Villa squad. No, I don't. Look, we'd fail if Gerrard came in my opinion now. We just would. It would just be wrong. It would if they announced Steven Gerrard, I'd feel like they haven't learned anything over their time owning Liverpool Football Club. No, it has to be Alonso. It just has to be Alonso. And I know Leverkusen fans probably watching all of us today talk about Xabi Alonso and hate us and are frustrated by it, and I get it. But also, I want what's best for Liverpool as a Liverpool fan, and I think he is the best fit right now for what we have, because the system, the players, the squad is in place, and I like his style of football. I like him as a man, and yeah, it's just, in my head, it's him or nobody at this point. Gerrard just signed a big money deal, so he's making retirement money for the family. Well, yeah, he signed a deal till 2026. Ancelotti signed a deal till 2026. But then again, Jurgen Klopp signed a deal till 2026. I've got to be honest, there was a shithouse part of me that went, imagine FSG held him to his contract and said, no, sorry, signed a contract, we're not firing you. But they wouldn't do that, of course, because the respect has to be there and is there between both sides. Because, in the same way, if Klopp wanted a new deal, they were always respectful of not pushing him for it. But if he wanted it, the contract was there. I think this situation is probably the same. Look, we've only got 500 likes, my friend. So if you can, please do drop a like on the stream. Not that there's much to be positive about today in that regard. And also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well. Tomorrow is going to be my day off. So, any questions or anything like that, get it into the chat right now. What's this? Stop begging Go away, Charlie. I don't know what you're on about. You begging, talking about me or somebody begging for something else, mate? I'm very confused. I get half conversations in the chat, and I don't want to get angry at somebody for the wrong reason. So I don't know if somebody's begging for a membership or you're asking me to stop begging about something. I don't know, my man. But right, couple of quick things as well. Don't forget to check out the Clips channel if you get a chance. Although publicising that at the minute just feels like I don't know, it's unimportant. Also, I mean, some little bit of positive news. Your favourite ad reads are going to be coming back. We did just sign off on a new deal with Surfshark, and we signed off on a new deal with Manscaped, and we've another one in the works as well. So you're going to get the Manscaped ad reads back again, but this time they're going to be done live on streams. And I want some creative puns and fun ways to do these as well, because you guys are going to be a big part of it moving forward. So just a bit of good news on that front for the channel. Want to say thank you to Ben and Connor in the background for all the hard work they've done in helping get these over the line. And it's huge for our channel. And I thought I was going to be celebrating these things publicly today with you guys, but it's just a footnote really in the day. It's in it, but it's been a big week for us. You know, on top of the investments we've made behind the scenes in technology that should be ready in a couple of weeks to introduce to you guys as well. You know, the future's looking very bright for us as a community, and we hope you continue to stay on this journey with us. Can we get a live demonstration from Manscaped? No, we won't quite be going that far, mate. No. Thank you, Charlie. I've seen your comment, mate. Thank you. Yeah, no, not quite that far. Is there a Surfshark offer code available? Yeah. 2 secs, mate. I just want to make sure I give you the right one. 1 second. Get my notes to make sure I give you the right code, because we've so many different codes for so many different what's the Surfshark one? A Surfshark one is, what is the Surfshark code? Anfield Agenda, all one word. So yeah, there is a Surfshark offer. If you'd like to sign up to Surfshark, you can get up to 6 months extra free in Surfshark for just over €2 per month. Use the code Anfield Agenda, all one word, at checkout, and that will get you that discount. Manscaped, we balling. Oh, I feel like a right baller because I've got the performance package 3.0, 4.0, and now the 5.0 on the post on the way. So my ball game is going to be top notch. New Manscaped t-shirt as well on the way. But yeah, as I said, it doesn't feel like a day to celebrate because, you know, everything's just sad because of how we all feel about the Klopp situation. Craig, have the signs been there? Klopp has built a new side this season, almost as if he's been building it for a new coach. Thoughts? Don't know. Don't know if he's been building it for a new coach, but whoever inherits the group is inheriting a good group of players. Is it me, or is he sick or something? No, I don't think he is. Issa, sorry. He did go out of his way today to speak about, you know, his health. But no, I don't think there's any illness or anything like that to worry about. I just think it's what he said. It's just the toll of the job, the effort he's had to put in, the energy levels that he needs to put out. And, you know, as he gets older, these things become harder and harder, and I think he just wants to make sure he keeps a good quality of life and a good bit of himself for the rest of his lifetime and time with his family. So, pretty certain there's nothing on a health regard. How do you think this will affect the players? Are there any players you can see leaving other than Mo? The ones that are out of contract, Matip, Thiago, maybe Adrian. I really do feel we'll get Trent and Van Dijk new deals. Kelleher may go, but that's irrelevant to the Klopp situation, I think. It's hard to, like, I don't know who has the closest relationships to Klopp behind the scenes. So I don't know who maybe will impact or hurt more than others. You know, people deal with these things in different ways. Some of them will just kind of shrug it off and get on and continue to plow ahead and look to the future. Others may take a little bit longer, I guess, to process it or whatever. But I wouldn't say anyone's happy about it. Put it that way. I wouldn't say there's anybody in the Liverpool dressing room who thought today's news was good news. Klopp wouldn't have left if there wasn't someone, said Luke. Look, I'm not going to lie. I fully am convinced it's Alonso and that everything else is noise at this point. But I say that with no information, zero. I'm not trying to make out like I know something you don't know. It just smacks of. It just smacks of it being too obvious, and that the reason why it mightn't be announced or will talk about this search and all this stuff is, again, respect, because the longer they can drag it out, the longer it's not a distraction for Leverkusen, really. So, yeah, look, there's a big part of me that feels like behind the scenes it might be done, but nothing to back that up. What if we get Alonso, then in a couple of years Madrid come calling for him? I don't know. I don't know what. It's hard to say because it's like guessing which club he likes more. If you get me, I don't know. Obviously, I'd like to think that if he's at Liverpool and Madrid or anybody comes calling, he's not going to break his contract with us. And I'd also say that he's such a young manager that if he's at Liverpool and doing a good job, those big jobs will always be there down the line. You know, he'll always have that connection with Madrid and Bayern. So I don't think he'd leave Liverpool to go to anyone. You know, I think it would have to be a case of either the contract is up or he gets fired. But yeah, I can't see him, because he has a legacy already with Liverpool fans as a European Cup winner, as in my opinion one of the best signings of any manager. When Rafa bought him in from Sociedad, just a class act all around. The timing of the announcement leads me to think we already have somebody lined up, probably Alonso, said Martin Halliwell. I think so, mate. Especially because of the news, like, it came out in November. If Klopp only told the owners today or yesterday and then the players got told and then the press conference came that quickly, I'd probably be sitting here saying, okay, we're just clutching at straws. But the fact that he told FSG in November makes me feel like, who wouldn't have started the search by now? You know, anybody in the position of the owners would definitely have started to compile information and dossiers on different managers and look at statistics and, you know, started to bend the ear of people that you trust or get some opinions on it. So yeah, I do feel like they're not going to convince me that they haven't started looking. I don't think so. It wouldn't make any sense if they hadn't. Ian said 100% the players already knew. Well, it's been widely reported, mate, that they didn't until 10:30 this morning. Now, I was reading an article from, I think it was Paul Gorst of the Echo, and he did say that amongst the journalistic fraternity there was a feeling something was in the air over the last few days. And the few little inklings that he gave was that Klopp's normal Friday press conference was moved to Thursday, and that Matt Beard's press conference, I think, was pushed to Saturday. So I think the journalists had a feeling some news was coming, but what news, I don't know. But Paul Gorst, I think it was, did say that in his piece on the Echo, that there was some feeling in the air that there was news to be brought out this week. But I guess probably nobody expected it to be this news. First thing we need to figure out was who was our sporting director. Yes, yeah, Felix. It's a very good point. I don't know who it is. I haven't got a clue. Sagan, and thank you for your super chat, mate. Said I think it's hard because Klopp felt like one of your mates down the pub, not just Liverpool manager. He was just a normal bloke in the best job in the world. Yeah, look, I don't get starstruck when I meet people, but I've told you this story before, and I guess I'll tell it again. It was in the Aviva Stadium, and we had press passes for a couple of the pre-season friendlies. One day it was Manchester United under Jose Mourinho who were playing, then another day it was Liverpool under Kloppo. And we were in the press conference for Mourinho and all, absolutely fine. Next day, Liverpool press conference, I'm front row sitting with Jonathan, and the two of us are sitting there, and Klopp comes in, and I become completely starstruck. Jono was sitting beside me, and fair play to Jono, he asked the question in the press conference, and it actually got picked up on by Sky and lots of people about Coutinho, and it weirdly ended up being a bit of a big talking point about Coutinho's situation. But first time in my life I'll ever own up to shit in the bed, because I was just in awe of him. I was just like, oh my god, he's there. Like, it felt like he had this aura and this presence about him that I've not really felt when I've been around other famous people. I usually just think of famous people as normal individuals. Like, the more people you meet over the years who are from famous or successful, you kind of get to understand that there is no secret, or there is no one thing that makes them clearly stand out, that they're normal, down-to-earth people. But with Klopp, I was just starstruck completely. I feel like we'll have an era of turbulence like United. At least I'm afraid that this may happen after Klopp leaves. I think we're in a way better position, Rob, than United were when Sir Alex left. I think the club is more stable behind the scenes. I think structure is a bit better, albeit the points everybody's raised about the sporting director is a very good point, and I have not got a clue who the sporting director could be, because we've seen Herbal, of course, go to Bayern Munich. The guy from Monaco who was linked before was a Paul Mitchell. I think the club had passed up on him at one point, so honestly, I have no idea who or what to expect from a sporting director at this point. Other than maybe Ranić. I have no idea, lads. I honestly haven't got a clue what to expect from a sporting director's perspective, because my mind is just purely focused on the manager now. What are your thoughts about not just Klopp leaving, but the rest of the staff leaving? Don't really mind. I would imagine a new manager is going to want to bring in their own team with them. And there will be some continuity at the club. Like, I've not seen any talk of John Achterberg or Taffarel leaving yet, but I've seen the other coaches. So I don't know how big of an impact it'll have in that regard. I just know today's one of the hardest days I've had making content, and ironically I've been on live today more than most other days, but it's been a tough one. It's really, really been hard to keep chugging on today, because I'm just numb. Craig, I can't wait until Sunday for the match that will show where the players' heads are at. Well, I think I don't really. Oh, this is going to sound. I don't really give a fuck about Sunday, because I don't really give a shit about the FA Cup too much. If we win it, great. But my mind is on Wednesday and Sunday of next week. Because look, Norwich are home in the FA Cup. Whatever team we put out should get that job done. But next Wednesday and Sunday, big games. Season, maybe not defining games, but certainly season shaping games, and two big results, and we're absolutely flying, and the momentum's with us. Any points dropped or a wobble, and again questions start get asked about the timing of the announcement from Klopp. Agree, don't care about the FA Cup, prefer the League Cup, said Brett Young. I just feel like if we had to fail in one competition The FA Cup at this point is the one that I would care about the least. But I want us to win as much as we can, of course. You know, while Klopp's here, this is his last year, and we are still in 4 trophies. So let's put your best foot forward, I guess, and see what happens. If Alonso gets the job, surely he gets a good backing and FSG won't throw him under the bus. Well, look, like any manager who's coming to a new club, when you're in the negotiating part and you're sitting down with any prospective owners, you'd ask them what the thought process is in that area. You know, is there room for him to add his own stamp to the squad and bring in a player or two? And I'm sure the answer to that will be yes. So I don't know if they'll change their philosophy of how they fund transfers, or, you know, I don't expect us to suddenly become Chelsea overnight and, you know, drop hundreds of millions, but I'd like to think whoever the new manager is will be backed with a few players, same way Klopp would have been. Do you think signing a deal with Netflix about the documentary is part of play? No, zero. And the reason I think it's zero is, ask yourself this. If you're FSG and you want the fly in the wall documentary and Jurgen Klopp doesn't want it and really is adamant that he doesn't want it, which one of them's more important? And the answer is very easily Jurgen Klopp. And you would not get rid of Klopp over a documentary. It would be so stupid, it wouldn't make any sense. And it would be, from a business decision, idiotic. So no, I don't think at all it had any part to play. And I think it's just unfortunate timing that news about FSG being in deep conversation about a potential fly in the wall documentary is just bad timing. Paul said, how would you have for next manager and 3 realistic signings? Who are your network? Sorry, I thought that was somebody else's account. Your network said, who would you have for next manager and 3 realistic signing? Xabi Alonso, is the only guy for me, really. 3 realistic signings. I wouldn't mind him bringing in Florian Wirtz from Leverkusen, but I think you're not probably going to see him go back to Leverkusen, because that would be disrespectful to a club that would have to let him go to join Liverpool. So I would imagine they would say to him, don't be coming back for players. So I still like the idea of Elise. I think the club's plans to look at a centre-back will still be there. Probably continue to look at Mark Gay. And then we may need to get a forward, depending on what happens with the Salah situation. But Elise will be a good fit to come in there. I've got to be honest, I'm not even considering the Mbappe stuff at this point. I just feel like the Klopp and the situation with Mbappe's contract and the fact that there was no transfer fee really involved is probably, you know, without Klopp, the likelihood of that seems, you know, to be falling away for me anyway. As slim as the chances were already beforehand. The fact people knew and Klopp told people in November is still mind-boggling. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that feels weird from the past 2 months now that we know he told them in November, but you know, it is what it is. It's just a sad day, lads. It's just a sad day. Right, I'm gonna go, because honestly, I'm exhausted. I haven't slept yet. I didn't get any sleep last night. And I need to process this myself, because I'm feeling pretty sad as I sit here and the longer we talk about it. So I will see you on Sunday. We'll be live from 1:30 for the Norwich FA Cup watch along. I won't be live tomorrow because I'm taking the day off, but the preview will be out tomorrow. I've already recorded that, so that'll be out for the Norwich game. Do drop a like on the stream before you head off. I mean, let's see if we can get it to 1,000 likes before you guys head off. And then hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so. And I'll see you guys on Sunday. Enjoy your weekends as much as you can. And thank you for being here to help try and cheer me up a bit this evening, and each other, of course. Look after yourselves. Lots of love. I'll see you on Sunday.